Welcome to another episode of Z's Corner. If you've been following sporting news this week, you know that there's a little bit of a standoff between our men's 4x100 relay team in the 2008 Olympic Games and the Minister of Sport. You may have seen headlines like government rejects $5,000 proposal by the relay team. So this relay team won silver in 2008 behind Jamaica, which was awarded the gold medal. And subsequent to that, it was discovered that a member of the Jamaican relay team had tested positive for a banned substance. So Jamaica was eventually stripped of that gold medal, and therefore Trinidad and Tobago would have been upgraded from silver to gold. That handover ceremony took place at the IOC headquarters in Lucerne, Switzerland last year. And I think coming out of that, there are two issues fueling the current standoff. There is a lack of public recognition of the medal upgrade by the government. While the ceremony was done and the TTOC president was Ms. Diane Henderson was there was no welcome party at the airport when the guys came back with their gold medals. There was nothing like that in the airport, right? So that's issue one. However, they were rewarded in 2008 when they won silver. They got 500,000 TT dollars and 250,000 US unit trust shares, and the team was awarded the Shakonia Medal Gold, I believe. So the reward and recognition happened in 2008. 14 years later, they get upgraded to gold, and there is no similar reception or recognition that the silver medal was now a gold medal. The second part of it is that the team had submitted a proposal to the Minister of Sport and had a one-on-one conversation with her, and we do not know the details of the proposal. Richard Thompson shared in a subsequent post that part of the proposal included training camps, coaching clinics, school visits, club visits, mentorship, community development, and of course the team or the guys facilitating this proposal would be paid. You know, they would be rewarded, they would be compensated for their services. I do not know if the 5,000 figure being quoted, which is about 34,000 TT dollars, is a per athlete, per member of the team, which is Richard Thompson, Keston Bledman, Aaron Armstrong, Mark Burns. I do not know if it's a per figure or if it's a encompassing figure, right? Don't know. That's not really the core of it for me. For me, what is larger at stake is that, one, the team felt, and you can agree or disagree, that by virtue of who they are and the fact that they had a conversation with the minister, they should have gotten a formal response saying yes or no, or been engaged on the merits of the proposal. I'm not here to get into that with you guys. What I think is that it raises the question of how do we develop sport in Trinidad and Tobago, right? What's our model? Now, Trinidad and Tobago does not have, to my knowledge, a state-sponsored, all-encompassing national sporting plan that says these are the sporting disciplines that we're focused on, these are the next sporting events that we're focused on, Olympic Games, Commonwealth Games, Pan American Games, and these are the amount of medals that we want to win at each event in each sporting discipline. I don't know that there's anything like that written on paper anywhere that's been articulated. I know that the former TTOC president, Brian Lewis, he used to say 10 goals 2024. He wanted to give people and athletes a goal, a target to reach for. In the absence of that, I don't know that anything exists. I know that the ministry is doing a lot of work. There are some programs happening in spaces around Trinidad and Tobago, right? But what is our developmental model? As it exists, it's either what the government is willing to do and then what the private sector decides to sponsor, right? You'll often hear the minister say the government can't do everything, the private sector needs to step up, which is all well and good. But I do think what this current situation requires is a rethink as to how we approach development and how we tie our larger goals into place, right? And Trinidad and Tobago does not have a dedicated funding model for sport. In the UK, part of the funds from the National Lottery Programme goes directly into sport development. That is not the case in Trinidad and Tobago. While the Hazy Crawford Stadium has been used to host cultural events in the past, and all the monies that the Hazy Crawford Stadium would get from hosting events would go into the public purse. The government will decide who gets what money. There is no dedicated means to sponsor sport in Trinidad and Tobago. So that's one thing that you could think, maybe we need to create that. If you visit the US Olympic Committee website, one of the buttons that you would see on their homepage is donate. So there's a mechanism for you to go and donate directly to the team, to the athletes, to support them, right? I know in Trinidad and Tobago, the Athlete Welfare and Development Fund, organized by the TTOC, you can donate directly to that Scotiabank account. You'd have to call the TTOC and get details, but as a citizen, there is a way for you to support our athletes. It's not as easy as going on the website and swiping your credit card, but it exists. But I do think we need other ways. Cause marketing has been around for a long time. Project Red, I think, is one of the largest. It's been around for years. You could point to where you think, oh, I buy a red phone, or I buy a red case for something, and that goes to fund HIV/AIDS research, etc. That's been around for decades. That model has been tried and true and established. It's something that I think we can look at here. I remember seeing a great deal of hype at the last Olympic Games around the Trinidad and Tobago's, the athletes' outfits, etc., the uniform that we're going to wear to the games. And I think we can model something like that. Maybe we work with local designers to create something, and then we get citizens to buy it, and then part of the proceeds from it goes towards supporting the athletes. That's something we can look at. We also have a very diverse, or I should say a very large diaspora. There's a Trinidadian everywhere in the world. Maybe we tap into the sport diaspora, some of whom have more disposable income than Trinidadians living here, and find ways to create a vehicle, a financial instrument maybe, where the diaspora can help fund sporting development in Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know, I'm just throwing out ideas. There are NGOs here in Trinidad and Tobago that allow citizens to sponsor a child. So you can sponsor, maybe you can think of ways where you can sponsor an athlete, or maybe it's a means of exchanging services in kind. All it requires is that we have to do a little more legwork, be a little bit more diverse in our ideas, a little more creative, and be a willingness to be a little more flexible in how we push the sports and develop our athletes. Is it impossible? No. Does it take a little more work? Probably, right? But the world has changed, and our developmental model has to change along with it. But my real honest thought on the media debacle is that when two elephants fight, only the grass gets trampled. So at the end of the day, the 4x100 relay team will be fine. They say they've already been doing a lot of work, individually in their own ways, in their own time, and I'm sure that they will keep doing that. The Minister of Sports will also be fine. The only people that are challenged in this situation are the athletes who aren't being supported in the best ways, consistently, to help them achieve their dreams. But I want to tell those athletes, those young dreamers who perhaps see themselves on a medal podium, who want to be the next Usain Bolt, Keyshawn Walcott, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price, Richard Thompson, Ato Boldon, Dylan Carter, who see themselves on a podium representing Trinidad and Tobago. I want to tell you that dream to be on a podium, that is your dream. That is not a national dream. That is your dream. Being an athlete is hard, but it is a choice that you make. And with that choice will come bumps in the road and hurdles. The things that we complain about by virtue of just being Trinidadians and Tobagonians, those things don't go away because you become an athlete, right? So you will still face those same challenges, those pains that the rest of us have to deal with. And the reality is that you're going to have to keep working towards your dreams. We live in an environment now where you have to be able to create value and show the impact that you're having, in order to justify people supporting you. So telling your own story is really, really important. Tell your story. Social media is there for a reason. Do not wait for the government, the NGO, anybody else, the coach. Find people who can help you, who will support you. Tell your story and do the work necessary to achieve your goal. It is your goal. It is your choice. Trinidad and Tobago will ultimately benefit. If you land on a podium, we'll get lots of eyeballs on us. Our tourism sector might get a little bit of a boost. But the reality is that goal is still yours. You got to do the work for it. And the reality is that not everybody who dreams of being on a podium eventually makes it to the podium. And there is no shame in saying, as much as I love this, I'm not good enough to make a living from it, and finding another way to add value and impact in the same field. There is no harm in that. Many of us have had to shell dreams because of circumstances, because life happens, and there is no shame in changing your sail and adjusting course. But always remember that if there's life, there's hope, and if you have a dream, keep going for it, keep putting in the work, and find as many people as you can to support you, but understand that not everybody will buy in and believe that dream, and be willing to think outside the box in terms of what is a tried and true model to getting to where you need to be, right? And until next time, thanks for listening to Z's Corner.